Darth Vader's secret apprentice Starkiller may or may not be a clone. This mystery, however intriguing, takes a back seat in Star Wars The Force Unleashed 2 as Starkiller crisscrosses the galaxy in search of his old friends, slaughtering hundreds of stormtroopers and droids in the process. His quest has plenty of style, but is there any substance here?
General Kota.
Yes. When your training is complete, you will travel to Cato Nemoidia and execute him.
Haunted by memories that might not even be his, Starkiller rebels against Vader's indoctrination and sets off on a single-minded mission to find his love, Juno Eclipse. She and General Kota, the blind Jedi from the first game, both return with little exposition. Starkiller is blinded by his desire to find Juno, making the needs of the rebellion and the question of his own identity secondary as the larger Star Wars story slowly approaches Episode 4. Fan service is nothing new in Star Wars, and the Stormtrooper screams and Rancor roars are welcome. It's the trip to Yoda's cave and Boba Fett's lame cameo that leave a bad taste. Regardless of your feelings on Star Wars canon, The Force Unleashed 2 comes across as a crude tale, defined by unlikable characters and hackneyed situations.
We're at war and you want a quiet place to think?
Launch our Y-Wings, or this is going to be one short fight. Clear the deck, Starkiller. We need to get our fighters out there.
Starkiller's path through the game allows for little deviation. His escape, his acts of sabotage, and his rescue attempts are plotted on a linear path, with many battles playing out in narrow hallways and catwalks. Occasional breaks via transit rides and freefall sequences split up the Imperial March, but eventually, even those segments start repeating. Light platforming, rudimentary puzzles, and environmental hazards act as secondary gatekeepers to the throngs of soldiers. The Empire might be trying to break Starkiller's will through droning repetition. The stages are filled with cut-and-paste sections manned by an endless army of stormtroopers, droids, and later, weak Sith aberrations. Not much of a threat by themselves, they attack in large groups, turning the small arenas into slaughterhouses. Their varieties and behaviors don't change much throughout the game, just their numbers. The few bosses seem to take inspiration from the level design, with initial multi-step solutions eroding into drawn-out tests of endurance as you peel the onion skin of their life bars away. Anyone trying to hone their Jedi mastery can try to tackle the challenge mode, filled with more dull checklists consisting of the very same boring stuff you do during the game itself. From escaping the cloning facilities of Kamino to infiltrating an orbiting Star Destroyer, Starkiller's adventure isn't wanting for set pieces. It's the plotting execution that will eventually wear you out. The late game even has you revisiting old locations, fighting the same old stormtroopers, making the final hours even more of a chore. The Force is strong in Starkiller. He can channel lightning and force push with the best of them. Lightsabers, he wields two at a time, throwing them like boomerangs when the need arises. When it comes to the Force, he's a dynamo with attacks, defenses, and powers that practically beg you to spam them, and a force meter that quickly refills. This does make cutting down the legions of stormtroopers and droids immediately entertaining. Constant checkpoints make it easy to persevere, even when the Empire's massive numbers occasionally overwhelm you. Sever enough heads and you can even level up your skills and moves, though it's easy to see what works best for each type of adversary. There are some slick combos to pull off, and your dirty Jedi mind tricks even let you recruit some stormtroopers for a moment or two. You're so overpowered at the beginning that leveling feels inconsequential, with meager gains for the investment. Finishing moves play out through QuickTime events that are fun enough the first few times, until their repeating and lengthy animations become as boring as the stage structure. There's nothing wrong with being an all-powerful Jedi who plays with his foes like a kid plays with his food. There's just no finesse required to overcome the overwhelming odds the game throws at you. You can definitely add quite a bit of flair to the slaughter, but in the end, there's no disguising the routine, monotonous action at the heart of the game.
Brought you here, the galaxy has. Your path, clearly.
This faraway galaxy runs on havoc and euphoria, leading to some admirable physics and animation when you start throwing boxes and bodies all over the place. The pre-rendered cutscenes are also decent. It's the rest of the eye candy that might cause some cavities, with muddy textures and frame-stuttering performance. John Williams' classic fanfares help keep the adrenaline pumping during the overextended excursions. All the audio-visual production might evoke Star Wars, but it's only captured the look and not the spirit of the franchise.
You can sit this one out, General.
Inhabiting the role of Starkiller is a fantasy many will buy into, even with the trite melodrama, the repetitive structure, and the fun, if ultimately unrewarding, combat. Yes, it's Star Wars, with all the might of the Force and evil of the Empire. It's also a video game that's easy enough to stumble through, but lacks any novelty or appeal beyond the initial thrills you get from making sport of the shiny, helpless stormtroopers.